Hello everybody, Speedback, and today we're going to be talking about Enigma Miracle's Lifestealer. This is one of the games they played against Secret in the finals when they made their reverse sweep. Absolutely fantastic series. I had a blast watching it. Hopefully you guys did just as much. I mean, that's why we watch Dota, play Dota. Games like that and series like that are just, honestly, they're just so fun to watch, and I genuinely mean that. I had a blast watching it. So, yeah, now let's get into it. We're going to be following Miracle on his Lifestealer, seeing what he does to win his team the game. I think he carried this game very, very hard. I like his item build. It's kind of an off-the-path build compared to what people have been going, which is like this Maelstrom MKB sort of Lifestealer. Now, in this game, he went an Armlet, and he went Deso, which used to be an old Lifestealer build, and I want to talk about why I think it was a good choice this game, and overall just look at his decisions that allow him to snowball. So if you're excited for that and enjoy my content, please like the video as it helps me out a ton. Also, if you're interested in playing a hero like Batrider, who is very difficult and confusing if you don't play him correctly, also his meta has changed, right? He now takes Flame Break at level 2. Go check out the gameleap website in the link down below. I just made a video, a pro replay analysis by RMN, right? Well, it's by me about RMN, but he's a great offlane player. He had like a 70% win rate at the time of me recording the video, and I did a replay analysis on him to just kind of show why he's so dominant right now. So check that out. Click the link down below, and I hope I'll see you there, guys. So there's a couple of concepts I want to talk about in the laning stage that allow him to snowball. Now, first things first, he was solo lane against the Darkseer, and basically the thing he did to shut down the Darkseer was apply pressure with the Slaughter. Anytime the Darkseer walked up, he would help out the Slaughter to zone the Darkseer. And whenever you're against a solo hero, that's exactly what you want to do. You want to just CS. If your support gets in range to stun the carry, all of a sudden you shift over and help out. But other than that, he's really just been CSing 35 last hits at the 4-minute mark. I mean, that is insane, guys. This is the level I expect y'all to get to. If you can't do this every single game, you have no chance of going up. I'm kind of kidding. This is ridiculous. I don't even know how you get this many CS at this point. On top of that, I want to talk about how you don't want to rush like too greedy of items when you're going this build. So he's going more of like a right-clicky armor-based build in the armlet and phase boots. So right off the bat, why is that good? I want to talk about this build more in depth. But why is this build good that he's going armlet, phase boots, and even a halberd later on? It's because it completely counters out the enemy team's main source of damage, which is the Troll Warlord, who is a hard counter to Lifestealer, and also Slark, who is also a hard counter to Lifestealer. I would say Lifestealer can play against both of them. You're fine against both of them, but they definitely deal, like, if they get on top of you, they can completely mess with you. So having armor solves a lot of those problems. On top of that, in the laning stage, he picks up a casual Gloves of Haste and Blightstone, and I absolutely love this. On top of that, he has a wand. Why is this important, guys? I don't think people realize this. Why are builds like this key? Why are they so strong when you get ahead? Because they allow you to stay ahead. They allow you to continue to pressure your opponent, which we'll be seeing in a bit. Now, I want to talk about his first rotation of the game, just to really get off the bat with plays. So he's been farming top for the first 9 minutes, and this is generally all you want to do. Whenever you get free farm, guys, don't always feel pressure to just rotate and be like, oh, I have to push my advantage. This can work on certain heroes like Slark and Jug, where you can run at the enemy carry, but often the safest play to make that is pretty reliable is just to stay in your lane and farm. And that's what he does here. So he takes the safe lane tower, he sees his team getting gone on mid, and so he TPs. This is a really clean play in general because he gets his tower, and then he helps his Weehaw stay alive, at least for a little bit until Puppy finishes the kill. On top of that, this item build is going to allow him to just put a lot of pressure here. If he goes to different items, such as the Maelstrom Rush, he's going to be 5 times weaker than he is right now with these sort of items, and it really allows his team to continue playing tempo. If we look at the team comp of Nigma, they have heroes like Slaughter, Razor, Chen, and Underlord, who can really keep up the tempo because they have pretty good wave shove, they are very tanky, sustainable, and obviously have a lot of minus armor, so put that all together and you can just really play fast, so that is why this build makes so much sense. On top of that, I really like when people just play around their builds. What do I mean by that? And I'm really going to explain this as we continue to go through the video, but he's playing around his build very well this game. So first off, he buys these armor items to counter the enemy team, but it also synergizes with his team, and on top of that, he's playing like he bought these items. I'll see a lot of players go with the Maelstrom Rush build on Lifestealer. Hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. It's where you go no boots and you rush a Maelstrom, and then what they do is they just start fighting. You have your, like, you're all over the place. You have to synergize your items with your playstyle. I frankly don't care what people buy for the most, actually that's not true at all. I generally don't care what people buy if they go a standard build route. All that's really important is that you play around that build. Your playstyle needs to synergize with your items. This is a super important concept that most players just get wrong for whatever reason. Next up, I just want to talk about the areas where Miracle is farming. So first off, you're going to notice he's very deep on the enemy side of the map. Reason being is he knows with this build he is extremely hard for the enemy team to kill. Darkseer does nothing, Oracle does nothing, Tiny does nothing to him. Slark control can be a problem, but they want to be farming themselves, so it's very unrealistic that he gets ganked by them. And as a result, he's going very, very deep. Finds this broom handle, which is probably the best neutral item for lifestealer in Dota. This item is so good for this hero. Very, very lucky. You notice how he's just pushing deep waves. This is the playstyle on lifestealer when you go a build like this. Even if you have the Maelstrom build, if you always have the option for rage TP, you want to be shoving the wave in deep. You want to be giving vision of your opponents by doing this and continuing to take the deep farm so a hero like Darkseer can shove the wave and then jungle these camps. It's really a win-win by him playing like this. And I'm only going to stress this because I think it's just such a big deal, but this is what I like to call pattern-based farming, right? So he's really farming in a pattern here. He pushes in the lane, he takes a jungle camp, after the jungle camp, he goes to the next jungle camp, after that camp, he goes back to the wave, and so on and so forth, right? You want to make sure when you're farming, if you're trying to be efficient, what you're doing is you're going from wave to camp to wave to camp over and over and over again while paying attention to the minimap. That is the formula to get farmed, and really that's all he's genuinely doing here. He even blocks the wave so that it meets a little bit further back, so it's a bit safer when he farms it, and this is literally all he's doing for this like 2 to 3 minute period, and that's because this is the most efficient play for him. His Underlord now can farm bottom, his Slaughter can farm the jungle, Razor can farm the jungle. He's essentially creating space by not taking camps that his teammates want. And now as we see here, because of, the natural kit of lifestealer, be very careful about playing like this as a PL or as, something like a Terrorblade or a PA. You will die trying to do this, but as a lifestealer, he gets ganked, and a great reaction here to infest the creep. Instead of committing the rage when, there's a Slark nearby who could potentially kill him through it, he goes for the infest to buy a little time, comes out, TP's out. Just a great play, and that's a lot of space for his team. Just look at the Underlord and look at the bottom tower. This is really what I like to call effective farming. He's not being a waste of space like a lot of people are. And now comes the highest MMR play of this entire game. This is something you just almost never see in a low MMR match, and his item timings come together with his team, right? So if we look around his team, the Underlord is close to the pipe, we have the Slaughter with his ultimate, and we have a Razor who's pretty farmed, obviously with the Yules at this point. And why is this important? In low MMR games, this almost never happens, so what I generally recommend you do is you either notify your team that you want to go Roche, especially ahead of time, right? So you basically tell them 2 to 3 minutes before that you want to just bombard Roche and try to take it. The reason why they can do it this game is because they have a Deso and a Slardar. If you don't, maybe you shouldn't do it, but whenever you have a Slardar on your team, your brain should be focusing on Roche. And now let's really just take a look at how Miracle plays this. So basically his job here is to always scare off the Slark. He doesn't want to give Slark too many stacks, so he's sort of like, he's basically telling the Slark, hey man, if you want to overcommit, come in here. We're going to force you to commit your pounce, we're going to force you to commit your ulti, and then they'll be able to get the Razor link off, because until then, Nigma actually has a really hard time dealing with Slark as a team, and then they make this really nice smoke play to catch out Zai, right? So they get through the river, stun comes out, they catch Zai. And that's really important. Whenever you're playing around the Roche pit, it's very dangerous to run onto the enemy hill. So what you want to do is exactly what Miracle did there. He sort of baits the enemy team into him. He wants them to fight into them. That's one of the best concepts in Dota for team fighting. You generally want the enemy team to fight into you unless you are getting a pick off. And by the way, guys, I know this is going to sound crazy, okay? I already hear you. This is going to sound crazy. When you have Aegis, believe it or not, you don't have to run down mid. I don't know if you knew that or not. It's just something I want to put out there. You don't have to run down mid. He's actually pushing out a side lane, keeping his farm up, and actually getting to his Sanj timing, which will then help him actually go high ground if he wants to. You do not, and I'm going to repeat it again, you don't have to run down mid when you have Aegis. Please, I'm going to keep saying it until this gets through the entire Dota audience, and it just gets drilled into people's heads. When you have Aegis, it does not mean you have to run down mid, because what ends up happening is you just throw away your advantage immediately. It is far better to shove in your lanes and look for advantageous fights, or choke out the enemy team with the advantage that you have built by taking Roshan. And that's sort of what we're doing here. You notice Nigma is just looking for pickoffs, they get in the bottom lane, then they push in mid lane, kind of canceling out a lot of potential split push, and they are looking to eventually try to take some towers. Now once again here, I just want to take a look at his high ground siege play and notice what he's doing. Aegis, a lot of items, right? Extremely farmed. Why doesn't he just go hit Matama Man? Why not? Well, first off, he's going to give Matama Man stacks, and second off, he's going to bait his team into just running up. So instead, all you need to do is outplay YapzOr like this. I mean, what a great rage. Catches out the Tiny, prevents the toss, secures the kill. I mean, that is just such a good play there coming out for Miracle. Actually, no, the Tiny does end up getting away. My apologies. But as you can see, where is he staying? He's not once running past this tower. This tower is your marker. The front of it is where you don't pass. Once you pass it, bad fight. Instantly. Awful fight. I can't stress this enough. I really can't. Because as you can see, because he's not overextending, he's allowing his Slaughter to get amps off on the Slaughter, which enables him to be able to trade effectively. And this is how you play Dota. When you get Aegis, you take it slow. You try to bait the enemy team in. This is also a major advantage of Lifestealer because you are one of the best sieging heroes in Dota, as you are tanky, and of course you have Rage if they ever try to commit on you. And you notice how they get back? I mentioned this in a recent Guess the Rank episode, but I'm going to say it again. If you are sieging early into the game, it is 21 minutes in, and the entire enemy team is alive, or they are respawning soon, take 1 Rax and get out. It doesn't matter if it's ranged or melee, it's better to get melee if you can, but let's say they're respawning soon, take range, get out. And what do you know? Back to farming. Like, I really wish I could make these things up. I really wish this was like, oh, Dota is so complex and like, you know, figuring out how to become the god of it is really hard. And yes, it is, right? Yes, it is. It is. And doing this in game is far harder than doing a replay analysis of it. Like, by all means, I give them all credit that they deserve. Obviously, because if I could do it, I would be pro right now. But yeah, we're just going to continue to see the same pattern. I know this video has been a bit conceptual, but all I want people to understand is that carry play can be like a lot about positioning more than you think. Like when people think of carry, they don't think of positioning. They just think of like, oh, how many last hits can I get? What's my net worth at 20 minutes? Like these things are probably the most important thing to focus on. But at the same time, I really want you guys to look at like how much am I pushing in waves? Am I taking the proper farm? You know, like is my item build synergistic to the game? And things like this. And yeah, now that he's built up this massive item lead, he's just going to look to run at the Oracle. Obviously, that's a bit of a hard target as Oracle will ulti himself if the Lifestealer gets on top of him. He goes back to fight the Slark, and why is this, right? Why does he go back for the Slark? Because he's not trying to separate from his team. He's trying to protect his supports and other squishy heroes or heroes that will get jumped from the backliners. And that is why when you're playing against heroes like Slark and Troll Warlord who want to kill your supports if they can first, you stay with your team. You notice how he didn't chase the Oracle, he's not chasing Darkseer? You stay together with the boys. Also here, this is just a really smart Infest play, so the Troll Warlord, as I said, is a Lifestealer counter. With the ultimate, he did a ton of damage to Miracle on the Lifestealer, but when you're playing Lifestealer, just hop inside someone mid-fight, heal up, right? For whatever reason, I don't know who decided that this was going to be a thing. When you're infesting a host, which sounds disgusting, you get like 150 HP regen. Who knows why, but it's a thing. You infest your host, you get your HP, and then chunk down the closest target. And really, this is the key to not getting kited as Lifestealer. You don't chase people, you always sort of like poke. You're like, okay, if I can kill them, I commit. If I can't, I back up, I reset to the next target. And don't think this is just Lifestealer specific. This is a very important concept just to understand as a carry player. And right here, I want to emphasize it just again, just so you guys can really see it. So he goes on Yapsor here, he's getting amped, he's chunking him, right? One shot away from killing him, right? One shot. Why not chase him? Why not chase him? Because then he gets kited, right? And the enemy team can kill them. That's it. That's literally it. And this applies no matter where you're team fighting. It's especially important when you're on the high ground, but this applies to absolutely everywhere. And yeah, this might seem kind of brain dead from Matumba Man, but that's the reality of this build. You don't expect Lifestealer to do this much with his right clicks, but that ends up being the case. They secure another kill. Then he obviously looks for side next. The Oracle, because the Oracle becomes closest, he's going to hit Matumba Man. You notice how he's just hitting the person closest to him and then continuously sort of kiting back? I just love this so much. It makes me so happy to see just such clean play and smart play, and a lot of carries just never get this down. And the reason why, I think really the main reason why I wanted to say this in a video, I was playing an unranked game, as Miracle gets saved by his team, but I was playing an unranked game, and this Bristleback was like pretty farmed from our team. He was like divine-ish, and essentially what I said to him was like, hey man, you need to try to really stay with our supports, and he was like complaining that he was getting kited or whatever, and the concept there is you won't get kited away from your team unless you ran away from them in the first place. So if you're getting kited away from your team or your team isn't able to help you, it's probably your fault. Just think about it like that. You're probably running out way too far. Really, and I really mean that. And yeah, at this point, it's just slow and smart Dota for the win. Slaughter gets a jump onto the Oracle, just a really nice jump by GH, he pokes and prods, the Oracle ulti comes out and they reset. Now, I don't expect you to be able to do that just based off one spell in your pubs, because frankly, everyone's just gonna dive the high ground, let's be real. But at the same time, you still want to try to synergize with your other heroes, right? So when the Slaughter goes in, he immediately shifts over to who the Slaughter stuns. And I know it's like, okay, Speed, but this is Nigma, they're one of the best teams in the world. You can still pay attention to your initiators when you're a right-clicking core. When you are a right-clicking core, you get kited without stuns in the majority of games. So pay attention to your initiators and play around them. And yeah, I won't go over the whole kit and caboodle once again, but they take 1 rack, stay back, because this is high MMR Dota. And now let's take one more look at the final, or one of the final fights of this match, as Nigma has now built up a 12k lead, which is pretty comical because they're actually down by a kill, but that's how little kills really mean. It's more about map control and are you able to take racks and things like Roche. But yeah, just breaking out in this fight, you notice how he doesn't go on the Slark? Bad matchup, right? So you run away from your bad matchups for the most part. You don't want to 50-50 the Slark. He could halberd him here and actually hit him a little bit, but even then, you're not going to kill the Slark. He's sort of just going to trade, take some essence, pounce away, and reset. So instead, what he goes for is Zai, who actually got caught in the pit. Now some Gourd 4 staffs come out from the enemy team, and then look. That is so good! Oh my god, I love it! I love it! This makes me so happy. Do you see how fast he switched to go on the Oracle as he saw GH jump? Now, I can't tell you that you're going to be able to do that in your pubs, but what I can tell you is that this is what you need to think about and focus on if you were trying to get to the next level. Do you see how quickly he's able to shift? He's like, oh, I don't want to kill this Zyga anymore, who cares? Dude, he has no spells anyway, like, this guy's, all he has is a 4 staff. Like, who cares? Who cares? This is such good target priority. He's like, I don't care about this 4 staff Darkseer, he has nothing. I kill the high priority kiting hero in the backline, as well as the Tiny, who GH goes on next, and that ends off the game. Beautiful target priority, great itemization, perfect play. I honestly believe Miracle made almost no mistakes this game, besides the one death that I didn't show you, just so his play would look even better. But thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you learned a lot about this. This is a very value-packed video where I gave a lot of information, so I recommend you watch it back if you're actually trying to digest this and want to play Lifestealer. And I know a lot of it might seem team-oriented, but you can try to implement this with your friends at an early level, and a lot of things you can do without communication. In fact, I bet you a lot of these pro teams, when they're initiating and going in, they're not talking probably as much as you think. Definitely a little bit, like, I'll admit, but probably not as much as you may think. It's a lot of like, oh, you know, like, can we just synergize in the moment? But thank you guys for watching. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one. And yeah, like and subscribe. The whole spiel that I usually give. And of course, peace. Are you tired of being hard stuck at your rank? Over at gameleap.com, we have a library of hundreds of guides authored by pro players and coaches covering literally every aspect of Dota. Whether you're looking to master a new hero or role, or just polish up your existing skills, GameLeap is the proven place for competitive gamers to hone their craft and unlock their secret potential. Hit the link on screen right now, to take advantage of our special offer for a 25% discount, guys. 25%, and start your journey today.